Good evening, and thank you for joining your Fox 26 Gulf Coast Weather Authority for this 2023 hurricane season Are You Ready special. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Iskovitz. We're going to start with a look back at the past two busy seasons as we prepare for the one to come. The 2021 U.S. hurricane season was an active and devastating one with a total of 21 named storms, making it one of the most active seasons on record. 7 of those became hurricanes, with 4 major hurricanes, most notably Hurricane Ida, which made landfall in Louisiana as a Category 4 storm. And it was Hurricane Nicholas that impacted our region with a Category 1, making landfall in Matagorda in mid-September, knocking out power to 500,000 people in southeast Texas. Last year was another active year, but a bit of an unusual one, with only 14 total storms, 8 hurricanes and 2 major hurricanes. However, the most notorious was Hurricane Ian, a powerful Category 5, which devastated Florida. It became the 3rd costliest weather disaster on record and the deadliest hurricane to strike Florida since 1935. The 2023 hurricane season forecast is now out, issued by NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. So joining me to talk about it is the rest of your Gulf Coast Weather Authority team, John Dawson, Lena Maria Arango, and Ramisha Shade. So as we check out the numbers here, Lena, I want to get your opinion. They're predicting sort of a near average season. I mean, is that what you expected or a little bit different? No,
I would say none of this is coming as a surprise to us, Mike, because, you know, the main driving factor that we look at is the difference between a La Nina year and an El Nino year. Coming out of a rare triple dip La Nina, which would favor more activity in the Atlantic, we're now in a neutral phase, but forecast to enter an El Nino year, which would drive down the activity. What we saw last year, though, was there were some peculiarities with wind shear and dust, and so it's not the only thing that drives activity, but in general, they're going with the highest odds of a normal season with kind of slightly equal odds of just below or just above that.
So they give a really wide range. Now, we did back in April, we got a forecast from Colorado State University, which picked specific numbers instead of a range of numbers.
That's right. That is the main difference between the NOAA hurricane season outlook and the Colorado State University hurricane season outlook for the 2023 season, and for every year for that matter. But the CSU forecast basically gives more specific numbers, as Mike just mentioned. So this is the outlook for this year's hurricane season. 13 named storms, 6 hurricanes, and 2 major hurricanes are anticipated. Now that would put us near normal for a hurricane season, so close to average numbers. But as we all know, it doesn't matter how many named storms we have, how many tropical storms we have, how many hurricanes we have. It only takes that one that can move in, it can sit on top of you, dump very heavy rain. We saw that with Harvey. And we also are under the risk for a lot of severe wind damage. We've had hurricanes move through and cause a lot of wind damage as well, so it's not just the flood threat, so we really have to be ready.
JD, one of those huge windstorms was Hurricane Alicia, which took place in a year that was a very, very slow year. And you, as a native Houstonian, you remember it.
Yeah, I was here in 1983 for Alicia. That was the last time that we had a major hurricane that came to Houston. And yes, there were only a total of 4 named storms for the whole year in 1983. So again, our focus is these numbers are not something that we want to get too excited about, although below average or average is certainly better than well above average is what we've seen the last couple of years. And when we talk about average, we're talking about a 30-year average. That's how NOAA usually does all of their average numbers. And so 14, 7, and 3 are those numbers that we're talking about.
All right, real quick, we want to show you the names for this upcoming hurricane season, and just one stands out. It is the H name, and it's going to look unfamiliar to you, Harold. That is because on a 6-year repeating cycle, this is the 6-year anniversary of Hurricane Harvey. So Harvey's name was retired along with 3 other storms. All right, team, thank you very much. All right, coming later this summer, Harris County will unveil new floodplain maps. They're in response to Hurricane Harvey, when nearly half the properties impacted were outside the boundaries of FEMA's official flood risk zones. The new maps will expand most of Harris County's floodplains, taking into account urban flooding that happens when intense rain overwhelms our drainage systems. Existing maps show risk of river flooding when a bayou, creek, or lake overflows its banks. If you're down in Galveston, you could take a tour of where history and hurricanes meet. Meteorologist John Dawson gives you a glimpse.
Hey everyone, this is Dr. Hurricane Hal Needham live in Galveston, Texas. We have compound flooding underway. I'm going to explain what that means. Pretty squally up here on the seawall. Be careful out there, everybody. I'm going to show you our community flood meter over here.
Who is Dr. Hal?
Hi, I'm Dr. Hurricane Hal Needham. I'm an extreme weather and disaster scientist with the GeoTrek project. The GeoTrek podcast, which is like a radio show, is now ranked as the #1 podcast for natural disasters.
I'm so excited that you came on Galveston Hurricane Tour today.
I also run Galveston Hurricane Tour, so this is a great time that you can come to Galveston, do a walking tour of the island or a driving tour. We also have a lot of people that are storm survivors. They share their stories. The tour is very interactive.
We're going to talk about Galveston's resilient response to these hurricanes, building a 17-foot high seawall along the coast and raising over 500 city blocks and 2,000 buildings in the grade-raising project from 1904 to 1910, still one of the greatest civil engineering projects in the history of the world.
Often houses are elevated differently. We can see here the house on the left took on about 3 feet of floodwater inside the house during Hurricane Ike, whereas their neighbor here to the right stayed dry with the main living area during Hurricane Ike because it's elevated. JD, this is really a relic from the past. We used to correlate hurricane categories with saltwater flood levels before Hurricane Ike in 2008, but Ike, Katrina, and other storms proved that we cannot actually do that. And so this is kind of a relic from the past, not how we communicate risk today. Ike high water mark here probably would have been maybe at my eye level, but Ike came in as a Category 2 hurricane, and so a lot of people thought, wait, Category 2, that's in the red down here. And so if you were in a home that was slightly elevated, you might have thought, we have no need to evacuate, it's only a Category 2. Around Galveston Island here, it seemed like Ike produced more like a Category 3 storm surge, and over on the Bolivar Peninsula, the storm surge is more what we would think of as a typical Category 4 hurricane.
You know, Harvey was the most recent storm to really impact the Houston area, and I don't see a marker for that.
Isn't that interesting? We did have a Harvey marker. It was right down there on the ground. It was lower than these 5 saltwater flood events, and so that's part of the picture. Here along the coast, our bigger threat is actually saltwater flooding. When you get up to Metro Houston, it tends to be more from freshwater flooding from a heavy rainstorm like Hurricane Harvey. We cover about 2 miles, usually on a Friday or Saturday evening. It takes about 2 hours and 15 minutes to do the walking tour. We see over 10 sites related to hurricane history and resiliency. But then we actually added on an optional meal here at Little Daddy's Gumbo Bar. People love doing that. It's optional. It takes about 45 minutes, so it ends up being about a 3-hour tour. So far, everyone's ended up back where they started.
All right, so how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, people can just go to GalvestonHurricaneTour.com, see the different types of tours there, the walking tour, private tours, school tours, all that stuff is right there on the website.
Very cool. Well, those of us who have lived in Houston long enough know when it rains, it pours, literally. Flood dangers are something that we experience not only during hurricane season, but year-round. Meteorologist Lena Maria Arango joins us with some stats that might surprise you and reminders to keep you safe when flooding occurs.
Turn around, don't drown. It's a slogan we're all familiar with. Yet every year, people test the depth of water with 4 tires and 2 feet. With so many different types of flood alerts, we know it can be confusing. So what do they all mean? A flood watch is issued when the potential for flooding exists, but flooding isn't necessarily happening at that moment. Once flooding begins, aerial flood advisories are issued for short-term minor street flooding or ponding on roadways, in addition to rises in small waterways. The word warning means it's time to take immediate action, especially if accompanied by the word flash. This indicates a quick onset of likely rushing water and can be life-threatening. The strength of water is often underestimated, but there's a reason why we use it as a power source. Half a foot of standing water can reach the passenger floor of most cars, while the same amount of rushing water is enough to knock a grown adult off their feet. A foot of standing water is enough to float most vehicles, while 2 feet of rushing water has the strength to carry away even a truck or SUV. Your car is also filled with sensitive electrical equipment that can be damaged even in small quantities, and in large quantities can lead to a total loss. Other dangers may also exist within floodwaters, including debris, live electrical wires, or animals like snakes and alligators. This is why walking through floodwaters is equally as unsafe as driving into them. Any combination of this can prove to be life-threatening. Flooding claims more lives on average yearly than lightning, tornadoes, or hurricanes. And the state with the most flood-related fatalities? Texas. So what do you do if it's too late and you found yourself in a dangerous situation? Call for help to initiate a high water rescue. After rolling down one window, if your car is still running, turn it off. Exit the vehicle through the window to seek higher ground on the roof of your car while you wait to be rescued. If, after watching this demonstration, you're thinking to yourself, I wouldn't be able to do that, or I can't swim, then hopefully it will make you think twice before driving your car into flooded roadways.
Ahead on this Are You Ready special, understanding the cone of uncertainty with a little help from Fox Weather hurricane expert Brian Norcross. Plus, we'll take a flight on a hurricane hunter studying the eye of the storm. What these daredevils learn that helps us here on the ground. And flood insurance is a must-have in most of our region. Our Heather Sullivan shares some smart sense on getting yours and making the claims process easier. As Hurricane Ian prepared to unleash its punishing winds and rains on Florida last year, our reporter Matthew Seedorf flew into the eye of the storm aboard the U.S. Air Force's Teal 71 Hurricane Hunter aircraft. The crew on board endured 150-mile-per-hour winds and heavy rains as they studied that storm. Hurricane hunters are really on the front lines, making sure we have the most up-to-date information as tropical storms develop. Fox 26 meteorologist Ramisha Shade talked with one crew about their important jobs and the role they play in keeping us safe.
Every time there is a major bump or jerk in the flight controls, my nerves, they jump up a little bit each time.
Hurricane hunters flying into the heart of a storm, gathering vital information like wind speeds, pressure, and temperature.
Everything that we collect, the wind speeds, the exact point where the low pressure system is, from that we can see if the hurricane is turning or what it's actually doing.
An average flight lasts about 8 to 10 hours, and conditions can range from fairly tranquil to extremely turbulent.
It just depends on the day, it depends on the storm, it depends how they're acting and feeling that day. So every ride is different, we like to say.
Commander Adam Abbottball has piloted a P-3 Orion NOAA Hurricane Hunter aircraft through some of the roughest storms. He says Hurricane Ian is probably the most memorable.
Flew out of Houston for Hurricane Ian. It was a pre-dawn mission. It was a Category 5 landfalling close to the Fort Myers area there in Florida, and it was just a very violent storm.
Hurricane hunters can also measure ocean surface winds and rainfall rates. All help improve our official forecast. Lieutenant Amaryllis Cotto, hurricane hunter for the U.S. Air Force, says the benefits of flying into these storms is significant.
For every mission, it's about 15 to 25% that improves that forecast. So it's significant, all the information that we collect here for the Hurricane Center.
Closely tracking the behavior of these potentially monstrous hurricanes is a major step in providing earlier warning to everyone in harm's way. This ultimately leads to more lives saved.
So what really happens when that storm surge hits? Well, during Hurricane Ian, meteorologist Lena Maria Arango used a piece of construction equipment to illustrate the rapid danger.
I wanted to take a moment to discuss why storm surge is often considered the most dangerous component of tropical systems. It can be hard to fathom what several feet of rushing water looks like, especially if you've never experienced it firsthand. In fact, those who don't evacuate often cite that as one of their reasons for not doing so. I've lived here my whole life and it's never flooded, or I didn't understand what that many feet of rushing water could do. I'm going to use this lift to hopefully create some perspective. Rushing water is both extremely powerful and extremely dangerous. It only takes 6 inches of moving water to knock a grown adult off their feet, and it exploits structural weaknesses, which is why it gets inside. Water flowing at just a few miles an hour can create as much force as tornadic winds, and it always comes in much quicker than it goes out. I'm going to take a moment to raise this lift to 7.12 feet, the height of the storm surge in Fort Myers from a then Category 4 for Hurricane Ian, which was more than double the previous record for that area. This can happen very quickly, creating life-threatening situations. And in single-floor dwellings, there is no higher ground. You will unlikely survive a swim to safety, as storm surge can extend for miles. And in addition to the brute force of the rushing water, debris and animal life can be present in that water, in addition to all of the threats occurring overhead. A lot of thought goes into issuing evacuation, so I cannot stress this enough. If you are able to evacuate, please do so. Remember, take shelter from the wind, but run from the water. We cannot always protect property, but we can protect your life. In studio, meteorologist Lina Mariarango, Fox 26.
Well, we're very pleased to be joined now by Fox Weather hurricane specialist Brian Norcross, who we're always honored to have with us. Brian, thank you so much for being a part of our Are You Ready Fox 26 Hurricane Special.
Thanks very much, Mike. Good to be with you.
The cone of uncertainty. I've heard you actually say the cone is king, right? Everyone wants to see that cone of uncertainty when it comes to a hurricane forecast. But I want to hear your opinion on it, because it is not without fault.
Exactly. The situation in Hurricane Ian really indicated this, as well as any have in recent years. You know, the thing is, here's the problem, is that when a hurricane is, or a storm in general, is several days away, 4, 5, 6, even 7 days away, all we have to look at is the cone, right? Is the cone indicating the storm is forecast to come in our direction? And if you think about the Ian situation, 5 days out, the cone covered the whole peninsula of Florida, which correctly indicated that there was a threat to the peninsula of Florida. That was the right interpretation of that cone. But then as the storm got closer and closer to the state, of course, the cone narrows because it's the neck of the cone. The cone is only about the center of the storm, not the overall general threat. Then the cone didn't tell the story, and really what we wanted people to do is to not look at the cone and start looking at the watches and then the warnings that were issued, both hurricane warnings and storm surge warnings. So that's the difficulty we have, is that in the beginning, we tell people, look at the cone, look at the threat that the cone indicates for our area, and then we really want them to stop looking at the cone, because that's just the center, and look at where the hazards are forecast to be, and that's over the wider area. So that's our challenge.
In terms of the watches and warnings, I think those of us who have lived either on the Gulf Coast or on the Atlantic Coast for any period of time have gotten used to the fact, or maybe haven't gotten used to the fact, that you end up being placed under a watch or even under a warning very often when you don't end up being hit with any serious effects. So there are going to be a lot of what people might refer to as false alarms, but it's sort of a fact of life, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think this is a very, very important message for all of us to convey every time that warnings are issued. The fact is that if you want to live on the coast and you're going to live in a hurricane threat zone, you are going to prepare 3 or 4 times at least that you're not going to need to have prepared for a direct hit from the storm. We need to get folks past that and just have them understand that this is a price of living near the Gulf Coast in hurricane country, that we are going to have to prepare a number of times that it ends up not actually directly hitting us. But the fact is, in our system, the people that it hits are going to be well warned, and that's really what we want to be sure we do.
Yeah, words of wisdom. All right, hey Brian, always an honor and a privilege. Thank you so much for joining us today on Fox 26 this evening. It's wonderful to have you, and good luck this hurricane season.
All right, you too, Mike. Thanks.
Now is a good time to check your home and renter's insurance before a hurricane hits. Consumer reporter Heather Sullivan has smart sense on how to make sure you're covered.
8 out of 10 homes damaged in Hurricane Harvey didn't have flood insurance. And now you have more options that may help you save money and time. Hurricanes not only pack a punch, they can bring serious floods, even if you're not in a high-risk area.
FEMA estimates that more than 25% of their claims come from people actually outside of high-risk areas.
Homeowners insurance does not cover flood damage, and while many policies cover wind damage, homes in high-risk areas may also need windstorm coverage. Now is the time to get an insurance checkup.
If you want to buy flood insurance, that's something you're going to have to do separately. It's either directly through the National Flood Insurance Program, or there's a number of insurance companies that do a write-your-own program.
So shop around for the best rates. And remember, the National Flood Insurance Program takes 30 days to take effect, but some private insurers take only 10 to 15 days. If your home is damaged, you may also want to get a public claims adjuster rather than just rely on an insurance company adjuster. The Office of Insurance Regulation reports nearly 40% of claims after Hurricane Ian hit Florida were rejected or are in limbo.
We are on the homeowner and the policyholder's behalf, not the insurance companies.
A public adjuster is a licensed, certified adjuster that works for you.
Our job is to inspect the loss, determine coverage, photograph and document the loss, put an estimate together, and really follow up with, present a claims package to the insurance company.
Take inventory and photos of your property before a storm hits. Then immediately report damage to your insurance company, make necessary repairs, and you can also contact a public adjuster right away.
You want to make sure that you're gathering the evidence properly as soon as possible.
I've put links to insurance resources on Sullivan Smart Sense on Fox26Houston.com. Heather Sullivan, Fox 26 News.
Remember, when severe weather threatens, we are the team dedicated to keeping you and your family safe.
You can find us as well as important weather updates anytime on air and online at Fox26Houston.com.
You can also get us right in the palm of your hand in an instant with the Fox 26 weather app.
We're proud to serve this community as your Gulf Coast Weather Authority team, and we'll help you stay safe this hurricane season.